Hello, good evening. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. And I have good news for you today. So there has been a new asylum update. If you are in the United States and you're going to apply for asylum, or you have applied for asylum, you should know about the latest. So there are a number of policies that they have repealed during the Trump administration. They had implemented very restrictive policies to to slow down the immigration process and to also deprive asylum applicants of the ability to work in the United States. Now they have changed that. At this time, they have changed it to allow to go back to the original policies, one of which was that you can apply for a work permit, so the ability to work while you're waiting for your pending asylum 150 days after your application has been filed. So properly filed, as long as there are no errors in your application process, nothing that was your fault that caused a delay, you would be eligible to apply for your work permit 150 days after applying. So that was the original policy before the Trump administration. They came in, the Trump administration, and limited asylum applicants to apply for the work permit 365 days after. So they had to have a pending application 365 days after filing the asylum before they could even start on the process of applying for the work permit. That has changed. You can start applying at 150 days. It can then be approved at 180 days, and then your work permit would be issued. So you can get the ability to start working within a shorter period of time. So that is great news. And it is definitely the relief that a lot of asylum seekers need right now. So if you are looking at applying for asylum, or you have come through the border and now you're looking at what your next step should be, that's where you need to schedule a consultation. You are limited. So when you're applying for asylum, you have 365 days after the date of your entry in the United States to apply for asylum. So the clock is ticking. Now, if there are ways to get around that 365 day deadline, but it gets harder and you have to meet certain criteria. So there has to be some changes, extra changes or circumstances and changes in circumstances in your country that have now made you eligible for asylum, or an exceptional, circumstance in your life at the time had prevented a delay. And even in the case that there was a delay in you filing within the deadline, you have to still show that you filed within a reasonable time after the 365-day deadline. So very, very important that you get legal advice and representation before you do anything. Make sure you get that representation, because it does make a difference. And you don't want to be doing anything on this, taking any information on this live and doing anything until you get the right, accurate, personalized legal advice. Because remember, this is general information. So go ahead and schedule that consultation. You can use the link in the profile. It's going to take you to the website or take you to the button to schedule your own appointment. And if you look in the description of the video, you will see that the link is also there on YouTube. Now that I've said my piece, I am going to go ahead and take questions. I already see questions coming in, so put your questions in the comments. It can be anything that's immigration related. So how are you and your family safe in the storm? Thanks so much for asking, and good evening, Akshay. Lenora, thanks for asking, and we're doing fine. So we're getting a lot of wind and rain, but it's not as bad, it could be worse. I know that it is hitting other areas in Florida very badly, and so my prayers, they're in my prayers right now for those regions of Florida. I'm on the southeast side, and so we are getting some conditions. School is out, work is out, but thankfully it has not been as severe as it could be. So thanks for asking, and you stay safe. All of you who are in Florida, stay safe and make sure that you stay dry. Find a location where you'll be safe and stay put. So you all be safe as well. All right, so I'm gonna answer questions. I have advance parole. Can I travel out of the country while waiting on my VAWA case? No, that's too specific for me to answer here. When I advise my clients, because I know my client's case, is it advisable for you to travel? That's gonna depend on what's going on in your VAWA case. What are the facts involved? Do you have more than just the mistreatment involved? Do you yourself have a record? Do you have an immigration violation that would make it a little more risky to leave the country? That's where representation is very valuable, because you get the guidance you need before you do things, leave the country on advance parole. So generally, it is there. If you're going to travel, it's better to have advance parole than nothing at all. But whether the amount, the extent of the risk that you face is going to depend on a lot of follow-up questions from me. And I usually advise my clients at that point, not individuals who have filed on their own, because at that point, I don't know your case and I wouldn't be able to, give you accurate legal advice. How long does it take for the 2-year rule objection waiver to come through? So it can take a couple of months for that to come through. Parents, I-130 pending since last year, I-485 bio done in April. What to expect? So, at this point, you just have to go through. So if you're going through your parents are going through adjustment of status, I don't know what else is going on in your case. Have you gotten a request for evidence? So generally, when you're going through the adjustment of status process, you've done the biometrics. If you've applied for a work permit, that may come, or if they are not going to waive the interview, that may come as well. So you might get a green card in the mail. So, or if there are complications, if there are additional questions involved, you may get what's called a request for evidence. But that's basically the generalized information I can give you as to what to expect, because I don't know your case. If I will marry with green card holder, I will get the green card. So you may be eligible through a green card holder, but whether your process is going to be successful is going to depend on where are you, what's your immigration status, are you outside of the country, are you in the country? If you're out of status and you have a green card holder spouse, then there's going to be a different process involved. If you're outside of the country, then you would do consular processing, meaning your spouse would petition for you. And then once your petition is approved, it gets sent to the embassy through the National Visa Center to the embassy to be processed, scheduled. You'll be scheduled an interview and then issued an immigrant visa once they approve it. So can you qualify for a green card? The short answer is yes, you can if you're the spouse of a green card holder, but how that process is going to go and how complex it can get is going to depend on a number of different factors. And that's where the consultation is going to be essential to make sure that you succeed in your process. Do USCIS need COVID vaccine, or it's just the surgeon doc who needs it before they process your medical? So the reason that the doctor is requiring the COVID vaccine is because the USCIS requires it. So if you don't complete the vaccinations, they are going to have to issue and you don't do the COVID vaccinations and you don't meet any exceptions, the doctor is going to have to put on that evaluation that you haven't met the vaccination requirement. So the doctor usually advises what's required in order for them to successfully complete the medical. What is the time frame for the interview in India? So, I'd have to check on what their current time frame is. I know just around the globe it's backlogged. And so it can range anywhere from 3 months to even over a year right now to get interviews. Another thing is what interview? Is it an immigrant visa? Is it a non-immigrant visa? That also is going to count towards the wait times. Non-immigrant visas tend to have a shorter wait time than the immigrant visa. Immigrant visas for the green card, and non-immigrant is like a visitor's visa or work visa to come temporarily to work. Awesome. So congrats on your work permit. Do you have to marry a US citizen to adjust status on a J1 visa? So not necessarily, right? So Tashana, this is where the consultation is going to be very important because there are a number of questions I would have for you. The first is, do you have the 2-year foreign residency requirement? Do you have, if you do, then there are some steps that you'd have to take. And those steps will really depend on a number of factors. If you don't have the 2-year foreign residency requirement and you're maintaining legal status in the US, then you may be able to adjust status through a green card holder spouse as long as you maintain your status. So get that consultation. The best thing you can do to avoid mistakes and to possibly cause devastating consequences in your future, you need to make sure that you schedule that consultation. And once again, the way that you're going to do that is to go to, make sure that you go to the link in the profile, and on YouTube, the link is on the description of the video. Click on that and it's going to take you to the website where you'll see everything you need to get started with me to get confirm that consultation. All right. So you're welcome, Bernie B. Do you do your medical before they issue your work permit? You don't have to. It's not required for the work permit, but it is required for the green card. All right. So that's going to be it for me today. Thanks for all your questions. I'm not finished yet though. And thanks so much for sharing the live. Thanks for the love. I see all the love you've given me. Thanks so much for that. Now I am going over to Instagram. I'm not done yet, but I do like to spread the word across different platforms so more people get the information they need and the empowerment they need to make decisions for their own selves and how they're going to seek assistance. So you can join me there. I'm the immigration attorney on Instagram. You can join me, follow me there, and then you can find me in a quick minute on Instagram. Now, if you don't have Instagram, that's okay. I usually come back on a daily. I try to come as often as possible, as regular as possible between Mondays and Fridays at around 4 p.m. Eastern time. So you can always look out for me around that time and then hop on and ask your question. And I usually come with great updates for you. So thanks again, everyone. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.